Good morning, everybody. I am fired up. I can't wait to dig into this. We got Donald Trump just whining like a little baby. I want my sweet wing. I am loving it, folks. I am loving it. I hope he just gets all of it just sucked into a knot inside him, and it just keeps him up at night. And he just can't stand the fact that he can't grift his bribe in broad daylight. Anyways, let's dig into it. Good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. We've made it halfway through the week. We've made it halfway through the week. We're surviving another one. It is a good thing, though. I mean, it's a good. Things are looking good, folks. I am fired up. I really am fired up. There's a lot of good things to talk about. First of all, you folks are killing it. Before we get into the whole plane thing, and you folks are freaking killing it, nailing it. I mean, just let me show you what I'm talking about. So the budget, if you don't know how this works, this is just a Cliff Notes version. That is the Rayburn Congressional Office building. Loving it. Loving it. If y'all don't know how this works, they pass a budget, right? The House votes on it. The Senate votes on it, but it's not the same damn budget. It's not. Doesn't come out of both houses exactly the same. They have to do what's called reconciliation, which means they take the two bills and they send them back to their respective houses and they rewrite them. They take the two bills, set them side by side, and said, okay, this is where we can compromise together and make this work because these two bills are not the same. Get it? Not complex, right? I mean, you understand. The House votes for one bill. It passes. They send it to the Senate. The Senate passes another bill. Not the same bill. They have to sit down. They have to rewrite it up and repass it. That's the way it works. That's the way laws work, folks. This is what's going on in the markup during reconciliation. You folks showed up and raised holy hell. That's the Reagan office building in D.C. I am so proud of you folks. I am so proud of you folks. This is how you get it done. This is how you do it. You know, I caution people because when the Trump administration first took power, there were a lot of people that were really scared. There were a lot of people that were really angry. And then there were a lot of people that were suggesting some really nefarious shit. And I was really worried about that because it's in the 2025 project that we respond with violence and they break out martial law. I mean, that's the plan. That's part of the plan. We didn't do that. We showed up. We protested like grown-ups. We didn't wear masks. We showed up, showed everybody who we are. We filmed everybody around us. If anybody was a knucklehead, we made them famous. Love it, folks. This is the way you do it. This is the way you do it. I am hats off. I am so proud of you folks. I am so proud of you folks. I just can't rave about it enough. But A lot more to talk about than just how great you people have been. Nika T, all the crap the Republicans put Hunter Biden through and all the illegal stuff coming from this administration, crickets. Yep. And the crap that they were accusing, we went over it all. We went over the shit they said. We knocked it all down. They talked about business deals between family members and the Biden family when Joe Biden wasn't the vice president of the United States. He wasn't the president of the United States. But no, apparently families can't do business. That's just wrong in capitalist America if you're a Democrat. Bullshit is what it is. I tell you what. This is what we were saying. Republicans are worthless, sorry, lousy, no character, piece of crap hypocrites. And the Republicans are terrified, absolutely terrified. Trump is going to make them vote to give him this plane. If you don't know what we're talking about, this is what we're talking about. This is the Amari Sky Palace, the Flying Palace, pardon me. Amari Flying Palace. This is the plane the Emir of Qatar has given, wants to gift to Donald Trump. It is a nice plane. Nice plane. Just a nice, decked out. It's not new. It's not. It's 14 years old. So, yeah, if they want to use it for Air Force One, it's going to have to be refurbished. But, before we get to that, let's talk about Trump. Let's talk about Trump because he's having the feels, man. He's really having the feels. Randy Ryder, thanks for being here, my friend. Thanks for your truthful info that you really seem to go the distance to deliver. You the man. Thank you, brother. Thank you for supporting the show. $50 is a hell of a lot of money. I am very grateful. That is something else, man. I appreciate you. This is where Trump was when he first started getting pushback.
Boeing, and I don't want to hurt Boeing, but they are very late with the plane, and Qatar heard about it, and he's a great leader, and we were talking, and he said, if I can help you, let me do that. And they had a plane, not a new plane at all, but they had a plane, and these planes, the plane that you're on right now is almost 40 years old. Boeing and
Yeah, that's not a lie. Air Force One is almost 40 years old. It is an old airplane. It's been refurbished multiple times, but it is an old airplane and needs to be replaced, and that's why they were trying to do it. But Trump killed that project in his first term, and then it had to be restarted. That's why the plane has been late being delivered. But, that son of a bitch has never taken responsibility for anything he's ever done, and don't expect him to now. Colleen Sarah, kick-ass Omaha, Nebraska. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. We're going to get there, Colleen. We're going to get there. Stick with me. Steep in the flavor of the show. We're going to get there. Colleen's letting the good news cat out of the bag. But this is the guy that Trump couldn't remember. You saw him pause there. He couldn't remember the man's name. I mean, the guy's giving him a plane that's going to end up costing us $500 million. I mean, it's a $400 million plane, but we're going to, being worth more than $500 million because we're going to have to throw a ton into it, which I'm going to get to that. But this is Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, or Sheikh Al Thani. He couldn't pull Al Thani out of his butt when he had to talk about who was giving him the plane. It's just, the guy's got pudding for brains. He's got pudding for brains. He's just been he's dying right in front of us. He is. The man is literally dying before our eyes. He's just getting older and weaker and dumber and more cranky. Speaking of cranky, this is his get off my lawn moment. He's really got the feels about the fact that he's not going to get this plane. It doesn't really look like he's going to get this plane. He puts this shit out. I'm going to read it to you. You got to forgive me. The Boeing 747 is being given to the United States Air Force Department of Defense. Not to me. That's a lie. He's taking it with him. It is a gift from a nation, Qatar, that we have successfully defended for many years. It will be used by our government as a temporary Air Force One until such time as our new Boeings, which are very late on delivery, arrive. Why should our military and therefore our taxpayers be forced to pay hundreds of millions of dollars when they can get it for free from a country that wants to reward us for a job well done? The big savings will be spent instead to make America great again. Only a fool would not accept this gift on behalf of our country. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. And here's why it's a fucking bribe. And I can prove it. First of all, the American people aren't going to get this plane. They aren't. Why? Because they want to use it for Air Force One. Guess what? Yeah. In order for it to function as Air Force One, which is a flying command and control hub, which is a flying White House, which has secure communications along with a lot of very classified defensive measures, they would have to take that plane, completely refurbish it, and then upgrade it to be Air Force One, which would take longer than Trump is going to be in office. It would never be used as Air Force One. They would take it, they would have to go through it from nose to tail, sweep it for bugs. I mean, they would literally have to go into the wings, into every portion of that plane. They'd have to rip the tires off of it. They would have to literally just dismantle this frickin' plane just for operational security. Then they would have to refurbish the plane because it's 14 fucking years old. Then they would have to upgrade it to actually operate as Air Force One, which it cannot do now because despite the fact that Al-Thani has more money than Jesus fucking Christ, he doesn't have a plane on par with Air Force One, even the old one. The Amari Flying Palace is not functionally on par with Air Force One. That old reprobate of an airplane is more functional than the Amari Flying Palace as far as doing the job. So yeah, it's not going to be able to use it for Air Force One. We're going to refurbish the entire plane. Then we're going to hand it over to Trump. And I want to be very, very clear about how this ends up in Trump's hands. Oregon Wineland, thank you. Oh my God, way too funny. I know, right? I mean, when you start looking at the actual truth and reality, it's so obvious that it's a damn bribe. And I just want to add one more thing before we go to, no, you know what? I'm not going to get distracted. I want to keep talking about the plane for just a second and how it ends up in Trump's hands. We talked about this in the last show. This plane is contractually obligated to be given to the Trump Library. There is no Trump Library. There is a nonprofit that will put together a library. When they complete their work, it gets handed over to NARA, in which we pay to run it. The National Archives runs it. Once it's complete, that nonprofit still partners with the National Archives, but the National Archives runs it. But not till it's done. Not till it's done. Trump is going to die in office. I will wager he is that old, but he thinks he's going to live a little while longer. That means that nonprofit will have a brand new refurbished Sky Palace. And what are they going to do with it? Trump's going to fly around in it. That's going to be his new jet. That old black piece of shit they can barely keep flying that costs Trump a freaking fortune to keep in the air will be gone. And he will be flying around in a new luxury, completely refurbished on our dime 747. Are you following me? I need to see from the chat. Am I being clear how he gets that plane? It's no different than when, you've got a corporate jet. It's the CEO's plane. It's at his beck and call, but the corporation technically owns it. The institute that they set up to run his library will technically own the plane, but they will fillet Trump. They will service Trump. They will lick his taint. It will be a bribe factory. Just like Ronald Reagan getting a damn ranch in the middle of prime California real estate was an open bribe. This is a bribe, period. And you want to know why you know it's a bribe? It will take longer to refurbish this plane and get it functional than it will be to deliver this plane, which is already being built, which is already painted, which is having all of the security attached to it. The new Air Force One, the brand spanking new, nobody's ever farted in the seats before, Air Force One gets delivered in 2027. And if you happen to be smart enough, that's less than 2 years away. Yeah, it's a bribe. I'm sorry, Marcia. I know I'm a little excited, little hot today. I am a little hot today. Thank you for supporting the show. Mike Daly, some money for the swear jar, the Trump library, Hitler speeches, two Playboys, and a Cosmo. No kidding, right? It's going to be a grift palace. That's it. That's all it's going to be is one grift. Are you understanding me? Not only is the plane that's free going to cost us $1 billion plus to refurbish to make it do what this plane can do. Actually, it won't even be as functional as this plane. This plane was built from the ground up to be Air Force One. This plane, from the moment the aluminum was laid, man, this plane was designed to be Air Force One. So the one that he's getting, quote, for free, which will not be free, which will cost us $1 billion to upgrade and renovate, which he will never get to use. It'll just be handed over to him after he leaves office. Pardon me, his library institute would never even be as functional as the plane that he's about to get. This is a bribe. And it is a bribe coordinated disgustingly and to our shame by our Attorney General, Pam Bigot Bondi. Pam Bigot Barbie. Bigot Barbie put this together. Why Bigot Barbie? She's a lobbyist for Qatar. That's her job. Yeah. She gets paid. Qatar has been paying her over $100,000 a month. Over $100,000 a month to represent them. I think it's $135,000 a month. Somebody fact check me on the exact figure. 135,000. I don't remember exactly. A month to represent the government of Qatar. And she said during her confirmation, when shit like this happens, she's going to recuse herself and refer it to the DOJ. Then when she got into office, she fired the fucking guy that she would refer this to. And then wrote a memo that said, this is legal, all legal. It's good. It's good. This guy that pays me a fortune, he's fine. And this guy over here that gave me the attorney general's job, he's fine. Everything's fine. You lying bitch. Eric Morgan, thank you for being here. They're going to take this show down. I ain't even done being pissed off yet. Catherine Ryan, in addition to Omaha's blue victory, we had to stop letting the cat out of the bag. Thank you for supporting the show, but we ain't there yet. God, dog, I love that you people are always so far ahead of me. I'm telling you, that is worth celebrating. It is worth celebrating. It is. It is. And Pam Bondi is gross. She really is. Her record in Florida is freaking disgusting. Pam Bondi and the whole Epstein thing and all of, she's just freaking gross, man. She is disgusting. Historians are going to write about this administration and the people in it with such disgusting there you go. Somebody just fact checked for me. $115,000 a month. She's getting paid. Thank you, Mary. New supporter. Good to see you. Is it McCunis? Machinas? I don't know. Tell me. You got to tell me in the chat. Tell me how to pronounce your name. Thank you for supporting the show. I'm grateful. But not only is he sitting here taking a bribe, just overtly, and the Republicans, like I said, they are in sheer terror because these idiots. I told you, folks. I told you, they're idiots. They are idiots. They are dumb. Politically, they are dumb. They really are. They don't understand. And when I say politically, that's the wrong way to put it. In reality, in life, in running things, they're dumb. They understand how to turn on a bigot. They do. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. You're better than everybody else because you're white. They know how to appeal to a bigot. They really do. But as far as running things, they don't. And let me explain. Dave Ingham, for the swear jar speculation for later, thoughts on Pete B making another run of the White House. Yeah, he's doing it. That's for his show later on in the week. But yeah, he's starting to make the appearances. He's starting to make the rounds. Look like old Pete. Pete was my guy before he lost to Biden. I was a Buttigieg supporter. I'm glad to see him running. That guy's freaking smart, man. He is freaking smart. F the transparent toupee. No kidding, man. America 2025. Thank you for being here. Wow. Goshen coming out with the howitzers. Boom, boom, boom. Good day, sir. I sincerely appreciate your candor. I appreciate you being here supporting the show. I can't do it without you. Dave McKinney, thank you for supporting the show. I am grateful. Colleen Sarah, back in the house. Custom jar requires serious reimbursement today. I'm sorry, folks. I am. It just pisses me off. I mean, it really pisses me off. I'm tired of incompetent, thoughtless wussies. And that's a great segue for me to finish up what I was going to say, why this is so stupid. The thing that they're putting out to their people is, well, the Democrats wouldn't have taken the Statue of Liberty then. The Democrats, they wouldn't have taken the Statue of Liberty. They wouldn't have, because the Statue of Liberty was a gift. The Statue of Liberty was a gift, and we took that. What's the difference between this plane and the Statue of Liberty? Well, I can give you a couple major things that are different between the Statue of Liberty and your Bribe jet. I can give you a couple major differences. To start with, Congress had to approve the acceptance of that gift. Second of all, Grover Cleveland was the president. That gift was not a gift to Grover Cleveland. They didn't build the Statue of Liberty on the White House lawn for Grover Cleveland to look at, or at Grover Cleveland's house, or at Grover Cleveland's library. They built it in New York Harbor as a gift to the American people to greet incoming immigrants, a large portion of which came through New York City when we received that gift. Yeah, that's one. Two, when Grover Cleveland left office, the statue stayed. Yeah. Grover Cleveland didn't take the statue with him when he left. Do you see the difference, you MAGA dumbasses? But by making that argument, they have given their arm to the Democrats for the Democrats to judo them. And this is where I get so pissed about the circular firing squads, because you're about to see so many people attacking our Democratic leadership, because our Democratic leadership are absolutely judoing the Republicans on this. Lita P., what do you think the Arab countries are expecting in return, and how does this affect Trump's relationship with Netanyahu? I love you people. That's what I'm going to wrap up with, is how this affects Netanyahu. That's what I'm going to end up with. Omniscient Sphinx, thank you for being here. The Air Palace looked like it was furnished by Epstein and Hulk Hogan. Yeah. It looks like it's 14 years old. It's that old style. And Vincent Day, a little extra day for your enthusiasm. Great way to get my day started. Fired up, man. We got to be fired up. We do. We got to be fired up. I don't want to lose my train of thought, though. I don't want to lose my train of thought. Grover Cleveland didn't take the Statue of Liberty with him. Trump is going to take the Statue of Liberty with him. But most importantly, this comparison, our representatives in Congress voted to accept the Statue of Liberty. And the Democrats are absolutely judoing the Republicans in Congress, saying, you want Trump to have this plane? Okay. Vote on it. Make it legal. Do it. Now, the circular firing squad is going to be, Chuck Schumer wants to give Trump his plane. No, you dumbasses. The Republicans don't, and when I say dumbasses, I'm talking about the circular firing squad people, that all they can do is bitch about Democrats. This is perfect. You put the Republicans out there to say, we're going to give Trump a free plane. You do it. And I know there's some people who say, MAGA won't care. They don't care. They don't have morals. Their voters are stupid. They want Trump to have the plane. Yes, some of them, but you know who won't? The ones we're going to drive out of office in the midterms. Yeah. Take that fucking vote back to your constituents. So, yeah, that's where this is going to end up. They're going to dare the Republicans to bring this up to a vote, and the Republicans aren't going to do it, and Donnie ain't going to get his plane. Judith McDonald, Donnie makes a deal, a crooked and moral one for sure, but he got to try out another crooked move. Yep. That's my bet, is that he doesn't end up with the plane. I could be wrong. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not omniscient. I don't, but I could be wrong. Here's the thing. Netanyahu's butthole. Yeah. Trump's been making deals all over the damn place with people that want to see Netanyahu dead. Yep. Making deals with the Houthis, making deals with Iran, completely icing out Netanyahu. And the latest that he did, he's repealing sanctions on Syria. You know, the people that Netanyahu's bombing? Yeah. Everybody that ever gambles their future on Trump ends up completely destroyed or dead or both. It's without fail. Trump is a selfish, disgusting, immoral, and Netanyahu is screwed. And I couldn't be happier to see it. I couldn't. I am hoping the people of Israel step back and realize just how stupid their support, because it's like here, not everybody supports Netanyahu. There's a huge segment of the Israeli people that want Netanyahu gone, and a good chunk of them want him in prison. But yeah, Netanyahu's screwed long term over this. Trump has just thrown him under the bus, just like he did with Putin and the deal he made in Ukraine for the minerals. Putin is fully freaked out about the fact that Trump's getting greased in Ukraine. You get what you sleep in the bed you sleep in the bed you make, man. With the person you made it with. I wouldn't buy an apple from the son of a bitch. I wouldn't buy an apple from the son of a bitch. But everybody that's ever gotten in bed with him has gotten exactly what they deserve. Mike Lindell, Elon Musk. Elon Musk now has been completely exposed as a welfare government whore. He's trying to get a multi-billion-dollar contract for his ridiculous tunneling company to build a tunnel for Amtrak when they could build the train over land for a fraction of the cost. They could build the track over land for a fraction of the cost. Yeah, that's Republicans for you. That is Republicans for you. They are just corrupt, greedy. They don't represent the American people. And the American people are wising up. They're waking up. They thought these lights stayed on, on autopilot. And they're starting to realize, oh, shit, Democrats used to do that. And it's starting to show. Warren Benson, I love your passion. We had to listen to the Republicans about how the Biden crime family is corrupt. Now the GOP is silent as the Trump corruption is like nothing we've ever seen before. Bullshit. I agree with you 100%. Not only are they silent, they're making excuses for it. Miguel Arcentalos, Statue of Liberty makes money for the American people. Yeah, it does. It does. This plane is not. This is going to cost us a freaking fortune. Linda Orr, thanks for supporting the show. I appreciate you being here. Yes, dumb donkeys and bowers need not apply. Well said. Skeet Sarah, I have to say the protest in Congress was effing great to see. It was. Good job, people. Killing it. Jeremy Breeden, thanks for always being here, friend. Thanks for being here to support the show. Lisa K, you think all of that $442 billion in arms going to Saudi Arabia, perhaps a middleman for another country? The Saudis, the House of Saud is not all that beloved. They have real security concerns. They do. They really do. And they're losing their influence. And they know it. So yeah, they're building their military up. They're modernizing their military, namely because of Turkey and Erdogan. Erdogan is really modernizing his military, and that scares the shit out of everybody in the region. because Erdogan's been very public about the fact that he wants a new Ottoman Empire. But the bribery isn't the only place that Trump has been screwing the pooch for Republicans. I'm telling you, there's no way for Trump to survive without either losing his base or losing the people that write him the checks, write him the bribes. You can't keep both. You just can't. There's no way for the things that they're doing to keep everybody together. The mass deportations destroy our economy. They do. We haven't even seen the inflation hit yet from the tariffs, and we're already seeing a flagging economy. But then there's things like this that just directly punch even his supporters right in the face. Unfortunately, we have to go along for this damn ride. Trump drug pricing proposal puts GOP senators in a tough spot. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. But see, if you're not familiar with what's going on with prescription drugs, they've gotten a little bit more expensive lately. Because Joe Biden, he issued this executive order. And the executive order starts out like all executive orders with kind of a, I wish this would happen, the first part of it. But the Biden executive order has a section in it where it specifically says what he wants to happen. And you can Google this. It's Executive Order 14087. Section 2, HHS actions. Okay. This is where the rubber meets the road in this executive order. Let me just read it. It's just a couple sentences. Stick with me. In furtherance of the policy set forth in Section 1 of this order, which was the wish list of what we wanted to happen, the Secretary shall, consistent with the criteria set out in 14 USC 131A-B2, consider, that's a law on the books, will consider whether to select for testing by the Innovation Center new health payment and delivery by the Innovation Center, should be a comma there, new health care innovative. Let me start over. There should be a comma there. The Secretary shall, consistent with the criteria set out in 42 U.S.C. blah, 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 consider whether to select for testing by the Innovation Center new healthcare payment and delivery models that would lower drug costs and promote access to innovative drug therapies for beneficiaries enrolled in the Medicare and Medicaid programs, including models that may lead to lower cost sharing for commonly used drugs and support value-based payment that promotes high-quality care. The Secretary shall, not later than 90 days, issue an order. He's just asking for a report. Okay? It literally orders HHS to start taking the ideas they have and run the modeling through the Innovation Center to come up with real policies to lower drug prices. And they already know what those models are. We're talking about, competitive contracts. We're talking about, negotiating the contracts. We're talking about all the different things they came up with. And then they came up with what they put into the Inflation Reduction Act, which said, okay, we're looking at these drugs and they're just jacking the prices with no basis in reality for why they should get more expensive, just because they have sick people bent over a barrel. That's the problem. There's nobody telling these people how high they can raise their prices. So what we're going to do in what we control, because we don't control private insurance, in Medicare and Medicaid, we're going to put into the contracts that says if you want to sell drugs to Medicare and Medicaid, and oh boy, howdy, pharmaceutical companies have to sell drugs through Medicare and Medicaid, because guess what? People that are old are the ones that use the majority of the drugs. Makes sense. We get old, our bodies break down, we start using the drugs. That's their meat market. They passed a law that said, if you raise the, and pay attention here, this was in the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. If you raise the price of a drug more than the rate of inflation, you must then rebate that difference between inflation and what you raise the price of that drug. You must rebate that back to Medicaid and Medicare. Hence saying you can't raise prices of drugs more than inflation and sell them to Medicaid and Medicare. You just can't. That's real. That's really doing something. Donnie Dumbass passes an executive order. Thanks for the support, George. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Donnie Dumbass passes an executive order. And in his executive order, he says, I want drugs to be cheap. In fact, I want drugs to be so cheap that wherever you sell a drug in the world, the price America pays for your drug has to be equal to that lowest price wherever you sell it in the world. Yeah. What's wrong? Sounds great, right? I mean, great, right? Except for the fact there's nothing in the executive order that says how or who should do it or anything that is where the rubber meets the road, because they hauled all of that pharmaceutical language out of the Inflation Reduction Act. And Trump repealed Biden's executive order immediately after taking office. He ended everything that was lowering the government, that was really lowering drug prices. Now drug prices have gone up and his people are getting pissed. So he takes something that's working and destroys it. A crisis ensues. He issues an executive order that does nothing and says, woo, I fixed it. I fixed a problem that Biden created. And MAGA goes, yeah, that's right. We Republicans, we know how to run stuff. We do. We know. Woo! But you got an executive order with nothing in it. There is no order to specifically do anything. Then on top of that, the one thing it does says, which gives the framework, which Congress is supposed to, this is the executive order. This is what the president of our government is asking to happen. Remember, when Joe Biden did that, he put that framework out there and said, look, use these models to come up with legislation. And that's what they did. Well, the Republicans are like, the people that write us really big checks, we just eliminated everything that would do that so they could charge more. And they are charging more, and they're making more money. And that's what we wanted, because when they make more money, they write us more checks. And now you want us to, let me check my notes here. You want us to pass legislation that forces them to sell drugs in America equivalent to wherever they sell drugs in the world at whatever the cheapest price is. No, because there is actually some good the pharmaceutical companies do. They do. We subsidize cheap drug prices in places whose economies, their currency valuations are not on par with ours. If they sold the drugs at anywhere near what they sell them here because of the currency exchanges, they would literally be astronomically expensive. They would cost more than frickin' cars to buy. So drug companies eat it, and they sell these drugs in some countries dirt frickin' cheap. And that is a business model that cannot carry over to here. Yes, they're gouging the fuck out of us. They are. Don't get me wrong. But not everybody everywhere. And your executive order saying you have to sell here for the same price that you sell there bankrupts everybody. His executive order literally ends the pharmaceutical industry if it were to ever become law, which it will not. The Republicans are absolutely in full freakout mode because they literally, as I said, literally just gave this gift to the pharmaceutical industry of destroying all legislation that did anything to tell them what they could sell drugs at, prices they could sell drugs at. And now Donnie Dumbass passes an executive order that only a moron would write, that actually doesn't do anything. Can you guess what? Now, I'm just old hillbilly out in the woods. I could find this information. Can you guess what the corporate media is saying Donald Trump did? Randy Oliver, let Medicare negotiate all drugs and Medicare for all. Amen, brother. Amen. Let's hear it. Let's hear it from Mr. Oliver. Amen. Well, you know what? Let's not guess what they said. Let's not guess what they said. Oh, wait a minute. In 24 hours. In 24 hours from when I first started researching this story to get you all of this information, guess what the corporate media figured out? Oh, this is exciting. This is exciting. I was about to tear them a new ass because their headlines yesterday were Trump lowers prescription drug prices. Trump issues executive order to bring down drug prices. Woo, Trump's a hero. To guess who actually read the executive order and understands there ain't shit in it? The BBC. Trump's order on U.S. drug prices. What's in it and will it work? No, because there's nothing in it. Trump's executive order does nothing to bring down drug prices. MSNBC. MSNBC is always on top of it. Trump signs an order to reduce drug prices, but it's unclear how it would work. Of course, that's NPR because NPR actually read the executive order and realized there's nothing in it. Trump signs executive order setting 30-day deadline for drug makers to lower prices. That's AP. Yeah. That's the kind of shit that was floating out there all day yesterday. She said 1 day ago, that was floating out there all day yesterday. 2 days ago, NBC, not MSNBC, NBC says Trump signs executive order to slash drug prices, possibly including weight loss drugs. Looks like some of them are starting to actually read. And they're actually listening to Republicans on the Hill that are saying, no fucking way. You know, folks, this is really simple. If me, hillbilly Paul, can go find that executive order, which you can do with a Google, and you can read that executive order because it's about that long. It is a fraction as long as Joe Biden's, because Joe Biden's actually said something. It's about that long. You can read what it says. And the parts that you don't understand, you can Google what it means and they'll explain it to you. I mean, it's not that big a deal. There's nothing there. And what is there, the desire, the framework he sets up, is impossible. AJC, thanks for the support. Appreciate your work, the work you do, Tex. But hey, thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you supporting the show. Can't do it without you. Lonnie Johnson, buy a joint. I can't do that, my friend. I can't. They hate my ass, and I can't give them an excuse. I can't. I gotta live my life so freaking squeaky clean. It ain't even funny. I gotta keep my yard mowed, man. I'm telling you. Oh my God. But everybody's looking at this. I mean, none of what they do comports to reality ever. They live in this bigoted white supremacist fever dream all the time. And none of it ever works in reality because it's not real. It's just Cletus talking over beers. And Cletus don't know shit about running the government. He doesn't. And he's not smart enough to go find people. We're going to assume a joint means a stick of drill pipe that, we redneck boys used to build our fences and barns. That's what we're going to do. They call it one tube of drill pipe, which we buy refurbished, like used drill pipe, and then we use it for structural steel when the oil companies can't use it anymore. We call each one is called a joint. We're going to assume that's what he was talking about. Appreciate the contribution to the barn. But yeah, it's things like this. They're destroying things that have worked forever. The Episcopal Church refuses to resettle white Afrikaners, citing moral opposition. They're going farther than that, folks. The Episcopal Church is getting out of the settling refugees business totally, because they cannot refuse this order and still get government funding. And they know that the Trump administration will punish them. So they're just getting out of the refugee business, period. The Episcopal Church has said it is offensive. These Afrikaners are bigots. They're racists. They support the old apartheid form of government. It is immoral for us to support these people and to rehome these people here in our country. We're not going to do it. And since we're not going to do that, we know that you, the Trump administration, because you're chock full of bigots, will make us, this is not what they said, but I know what they were thinking, are chock full of bigots. So we're getting out of the refugee business, period. And at the end of business year, this year, the Episcopal Church, which has been a reliable partner to help, I told you, when somebody comes to this country, we have to invest about 6 months in them. We do. We have to get them settled in a place to live, get their feet on the ground to where they can go out, they can get a job, and they will become self-sustaining. They will. Churches, for as much shit as I give churches, are a big part of that. They do. That's the part where they actually walk with Christ. And the Episcopal Church is saying, no, these people do not represent our values. We cannot be good Christians and resettle Afrikaners. We can't. Not these people. We can't. So yeah, the Trump administration, again, because they're chock full of Stephen Miller bigots, are destroying something that is good and decent in this world. They are making us a lesser people. They are. They're just making us a lesser people. I mean, my God, who would have thought that we would be a publicly bribe-taking country, a human trafficking country, a country that will deport brown refugees because we're such bigots? We won't take the Afghan people that supported us when we were in Afghanistan. We won't take those people because they're not white Europeans. They're not of white European descent. And Afrikaners are of white European descent. But we'll take Afrikaners who are not being persecuted. They just aren't. They just aren't. We talked about that. The things that they say about their lands being seized. No. They're not taking active farms away from active farmers. They have watched that lesson happen in other parts of the country, of the continent. They have seen other governments do stupid shit like that. They're not going to active white farmers and saying, hey, we're taking your shit and handing it over to people that can barely subsistence farm. They're not doing that. That's how you starve your people. No, they're taking land that is fallow. They're taking land that is not in production, and they're condemning it. And they're saying, look, we need to teach Black people how to farm on an industrial scale in our country, because right now what we've got in South Africa is a large portion of our Black community that can only subsistence farm. So every one of them that we help to buy land, they end up only really being able to support themselves and maybe a portion of their village. We need to teach them how to do it on an industrial scale. And you have large tracts of land that are going completely unused, and groups like these groups that make up these Afrikaners they're trying to import are actually not even using the land for farming. They're using them for bases for their white supremacy frickin' movements. And yes, they're seizing that land for the good of the country. That's what countries do when they have an agricultural shortfall. This isn't, they went to some white farmer and said, you're white, so we're taking yours. You're making a living off this farm, but we're going to just give it to some Black guy over here because we're just racist. No, they didn't do that. They didn't do that. But that's what Trump is telling the press, and the press are just, okay. When they know the difference. They know the difference. Laura Yates, shipping in votes from other countries. Yeah. Folks, we can't. We have a population problem. And they know we have a population problem. That's why they're so aggressively going after abortion. That's where they're trying to push a culture that says women stay home barefoot and pregnant and support your man so that you can have 12 babies. They're trying to breed their way out of a problem that was decades and decades and decades and decades in the making. The Broligarchs wanted economies where both parents had to work. Well, both parents working means less kids. My mom didn't enter the workforce until we were old enough to fend for ourselves. You know, they want to keep pumping out, bullshit. You can't do it. I'll ask you again, how many of you ladies in the audience that are in your 50s plus want to go out there and rack out another kid? We're not going to breed our way out of this. They want to take your young daughters and granddaughters and turn them into breeders. Telling them they can't have whatever life they want. They can't be part of the professional community. They got to be breeders because, we just don't have enough white people here. They will not replace us. They didn't replace you. You just didn't have freaking babies, you dumbass. I love this cup. You people ask for a nice cup, no cuss and all that other stuff. I love this one. I do. Doesn't sell for shit, but I love it. It's very hopeful, very uplifting. Oh, come on, cat. All them dual income, no kids, couples. You don't want to make up for that? You don't want to, all them people that decided to have a better lifestyle instead of having 12 kids. You don't want to make up for that, cat? Come on now. What kind of patriot are you? That's the bullshit they're selling. That is the bullshit they're selling. Literally selling that to their people. But look, we've been negative long enough. I want to get off the negative. I want to get on to some positive stuff. I want to introduce you to somebody. This is Gene Stothart. And several people in the audience have already alluded to this because I told you, y'all are always so far ahead of what's going on. This is Gene Stothart. Gene Stothart was the mayor of Omaha, Nebraska. She's a Republican. She was for 12 years. She was the mayor. One second. I got to sneeze. Y'all got to forgive me for a second. I got to pause this. Sorry about the dead air. I really thought I was going to. You see me turning red? I thought I was going to just blow one out there, man. But yeah, she was the mayor, Republican mayor of Omaha, Nebraska for 12 years. And she was very, 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 very concerned about where you pee. She ran as every other Republican's running today. Bigot bullshit. So let me introduce you to the new mayor of Omaha, Nebraska, John Ewing. Yeah. Chalk up another major win for us Democrats. John Ewing whooped her. And I don't mean just squeak by. I mean, he whooped her because people are sick of Republican shit. Because Republicans suck. Let me say it again. They are sick of Republican shit because Republicans suck. Republicans are really good when we Democrats are running things and the lights are on and we're moving in the right direction and things are going well, like inflation after a huge world, global pandemic. We've gotten inflation back under control and we're doing the job and we're making things happen and we're making peace deals and we're trying to stop, genocides, and we're starting to, we're doing stuff like that. Republicans are really good about sitting back and bitching and talking about policies that do not comport to reality. Like, I don't know, we're going to sell drugs in America at the same price that your company sells them in the cheapest place wherever you sell them on earth. That's going to be the same price America is going to pay. bankrupting every pharmaceutical company in the world. Yeah. People have figured it out. They have figured it out. And in race after race after race after race after race, Democrats are whooping them. I mean, whooping them. Because we keep the lights on, folks. It ain't sexy. William G. Atheist, celebrate the governor of Maine's court win over the... Yeah, Janet Mills whipped him. Remember when Trump was talking smack? He said, we'll see you in court. You wish you hadn't. Yeah, she whooped him. She did. And that's what I keep telling you people. They talk smack, but they're stupid and their policies suck. So yeah, they're going to do damage, but everywhere they do damage, people don't like it. Right now, they're marking up that bill that's going to slash Medicaid. And the number one recipient for Medicaid isn't a bunch of illegals. It's not a bunch of brown people. No, it's grandma. It's grandma and her old folks home. And when they slash that funding, you're going to start seeing old folks homes just closing all over the damn place. And grandma's going to have to move back in and you're going to have to wipe her butt. Whereas, you used to have a lady that did that for a living, but no, you got your way. You voted your bigotry bullshit. So now go wipe grandma's butt. And they don't like it. And they're starting to figure it out. They're starting to figure it out. And I told you, folks, it just takes time. It just takes time. You remember Allison Riggs? Y'all remember this lady right here? Allison Riggs, Judge Allison Riggs. I'm telling you, she is badass. She is a force of nature. They tried to screw her out of her election in North Carolina, and she said, we'll see about that. And she fought them all the way, which is what I'm telling you, what we have to do and what we're going to have to do. Because they've got unlimited funding from the oligarchs. And then they're taking our government and they're trying to hand it over, the funding to like Elon Musk for his freaking government welfare to fund his failing ass tunneling company. They're going to just create projects for the oligarchs that are bribing them in broad freaking daylight and donating hundreds of millions of dollars to Republican campaigns. But you fight it out and you win. You win in the end. Y'all remember this guy, just smug looking jerk. This is Jefferson Griffin. Doesn't he just look like a jackass? I mean, can't you just look at that guy and think, good God, I hope I never have a case in his court. This guy just looks like a jackass. Just give me a little recap what old Jefferson Griffin thought. This was his seat. He was entitled to it. Entitled to it. So when he lost his election, lost his recount, lost another recount, then lost a court case, he said, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go into Democratic areas and we're going to take a look at ballots sent in because the state screwed up. They didn't comport what they passed, the legislation passed, and what the ballots the state themselves printed. And they sent them to soldiers overseas. And those soldiers in Democratic areas that tend to vote Democratic, soldiers that come out of those Democratic areas, we're going to challenge those ballots. Then the Supreme Court humiliated themselves when this got challenged all the way up to North Carolina Supreme Court and said, yeah, we'll do that. We'll just go to Democratic leaning areas and challenge these ballots. Well, let me introduce you to Judge Richard Myers. Judge Richard Myers he's a district court judge, a federal district court judge, and this dropped in his lap. And Judge Richard Myers said, the hell you will. And let me tell you, this is a guy I don't get along with. He is a dyed-in-the-wool, bright red conservative appointed by Donald Trump. Yeah, he's that freaking guy. He took one look at this case and said, "Oh, the hell you are." If you're challenging these ballots, then you're going to have to challenge all the ballots that went out like that. But when I say challenge, no, we're not going to give some arbitrary short deadline that people can't reach. If you want to challenge all of these ballots, you will make a sincere effort to reach out to these voters because they did nothing wrong. They followed the law and the regulations put out on the ballots they were sent. If you want to add their social security numbers to those ballots, you will do that. And they said, well, wait. Well, okay. We don't want to do that. But what about these ballots over here that we just asked? And the Supreme Court said, we'll just arbitrarily throw these ballots over here. These are different. These are people that we said don't live in North Carolina, but voted in North Carolina. And Judge Myers said, prove it. Don't just say it. Prove it. And they said, no, we're Republicans. You're supposed to just let us throw ballots out because we said so. What do you mean, prove it? That's work. We would have to talk to these people. And then we would have to prove that they don't live here when they probably do. And it won't be enough votes. What are you doing? We're white. You're supposed to let us win. Probably the only time you'll ever see me salute a MAGA motherfucker. Way to go, Judge Myers. Way to go. Followed the law. And when a conservative Judge Myers read them the riot act and told them this is now reality, not your little bubble bullshit, Judge Griffin said, I quit. You win. And this happened. Congratulations, Justice Riggs. But here's the thing. You can't put the shit back in the horse. People saw this. People in the military saw this. And you think I'm going to let them forget? No. You think I'm going to let them forget that they were going to disenfranchise military voters just because they lived in a blue district? Because that's what it was. You think I'm going to let them forget that the North Carolina Supreme Court conservatives were okay with that? No. No, this is the internet, bitches. It's forever. And I promise you, I'm going to beat the shit out of them with this all through the midterms. And people are tired of it. People are sick and tired of it. Marie Crabtree, you crack me up when you show how a Republican throws a fit. Well, I've seen one or two. Look, folks, it's not just there. It is across the country. Look, this just happened. We're going to a runoff down in San Antonio. But folks, Gina Ortiz Jones, the Democrat in the race, yeah, that first round of voting, she dominated. She dominated. She just didn't get over 50%. Rolando Pablos is Greg Abbott's man, literally his Secretary of State and then his consultant. And the people of San Antonio said, screw that noise. Screw that noise. So they've got to go to a runoff. But it looks like Ortiz Jones is just dominating. The figures that came in, she was 14 points ahead of him in the first round of voting. And the race had like 8 other candidates in it, but the majority of them were Democrats splitting the vote. So, yeah, that's more votes going to Jones. It looks like we got a special election coming up here on June 7th that she is going to absolutely dominate. Because people are sick of this Republican bullshit. Just keep the damn lights on. Keep the trains running. Quit humiliating us in front of the world and quit making bigotry policy. Stop worrying about where I'm peeing. Chaz, thank you, man. I appreciate you for supporting the show. Carla, thank you, Texas Paul, for what you do. You have the energy of some of my old non-coms for the Army. I love every second of it. Carla, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. And that is a hell of a compliment right there. That is one hell of a compliment. And Democrats are learning, man. They are learning. Where what we've got to do is we've got to wean people off the corporate media, though. We do. We have to, even the good ones will go along with the current, because these were the headlines that came out of this. So even places like The Guardian, which folks, I love The Guardian. I do. I absolutely love The Guardian. They ran this headline. Illinois governor is first in the U.S. to block federal access to personal data on autism. That is not what he did. Let me say it again. The headline is, Illinois governor is first in the U.S. to block federal access to data on autism. Pay attention. That is not what he did. He made it so that the parents, or if you are an autistic adult, you must authorize the release of your records. The federal government can have access to that data. You just have to authorize it. You have to give them permission. And if you do not trust RFK Jr., who takes his family to swim in a creek full of shit, and his intentions on what he intends to do with your data, yeah, Governor Pritzker is standing up for the rule of law and the way it should be. That is how you fight, folks. That is how you fight. Did Governor Pritzker, yeah, I know it's gross, but it is all over. RFK Jr. thought it would be a great idea to take his family out to do some bullshit nature pictures, and on Mother's Day would take him swimming in the creek because, you know, them old MAGA people love to go swimming in the creek. And he went down to a creek, Rock Creek, that's in the area. And it's literally has warnings that says, do not swim. Raw sewage. There's raw sewage leaking into the creek. Don't swim here. or you'll get a bacterial infection. It is dangerous. It actually has a warning that says to not even wade into that creek. And there are pictures. You're more than welcome to go look them up. I'm not going to dig them up, but they're all over the internet right now. They're all over social media of him with his grandchildren and children swimming in a creek full of excrement. Yeah. And that's the guy that wants unfettered access for, I don't know, a 19-year-old kid in Doge using AI, which is just idiotic. Kate Mary Light, and where were those kids' mothers? Yeah. They were going along with what Grandpa said. Because Grandpa's brainworm said he wanted company, so they went to swim in Shit Creek. That is a hard impression to do. Hard on the throat. But it hasn't all been apple pie in the sky, folks. It hasn't. We had a bit of bad news. It was expected. It was expected. You can indict a ham sandwich. That is true. That is absolutely true. If you know anybody in law enforcement, if they want to indict you, they'll get their indictment. If someone fails to secure an indictment, goes to a grand jury and fails to secure an indictment, they need to be fired. Not for incompetence, for corruption, because you brought a case that was so damn blatantly wrong that even a grand jury will not give you the benefit of the doubt, because all the grand jury is doing is giving you permission to pursue charges. They're giving you the opportunity to make your case. They're saying you presented us enough information that we think that you should have the ability to go to try and make this case. That's all an indictment is. It's not you're guilty by any means at all. You can indict a ham sandwich is the old expression. So we knew this was going to happen. But I will tell you, it angers me anyways. Federal grand jury indicts Milwaukee judge accused of obstructing immigration agents. The FBI arrested Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan after the Trump administration accused her of helping an undocumented immigrant evade ICE agents. I'm going to make another prediction here. This indictment gets closed, file gets put in a holder, and that holder gets put on a shelf, and that's it. You're never going to hear from this again. That's my prediction. I could be dead wrong about that. They could be stupid enough to pursue this. They could be. They're really that stupid. And I will be honest with you. I hope to God they try to prosecute this. I really do, because they will be humiliated in court. They will be humiliated in court, and they will turn so many judges, even conservative judges, against them. I mean, they'll get the radicals. There are some radicals. There's some Chip Roy level dumbasses out there. You know, there are judges that are that radical. They'll get a few of them that'll support this because bigotry before the law, you know, but they're going to lose so many of their own damn judges in this, and they're going to lose in court. It's like this whole North Carolina thing. You know, they thought that they could just force whatever they want, and they're just inevitable, and the people will just accept it. And they turned a lot of people off. They have. There will be backlash for decades over this. They made themselves look like greedy, corrupt fools. And that's why I say, if there is a prosecutor involved in this that is half-assed intelligent, this indictment goes on a shelf and times out. The judge in the case gets assigned to will time it out. He'll say, look, we're either going to proceed or you're going to drop it, and it will quietly be dropped. But I hope not. I do. I don't wish ill for Hannah Dugan. I don't. I think that we should GoFundMe her defense so that she doesn't feel a lot of financial pain for this. But she's hired a good lawyer, a good law firm, and they're going to wreck the DOJ over this. They're going to humiliate them. And I really, 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 because folks, this is it. For too long, Democrats have kept the damn lights on. They've done the damn job and gotten no credit for it at all. None. This kind of thing turns the lights on. It illuminates the terrain for which we are currently deployed, and people realize, oh, yeah, well, wait a minute. Like in the Omaha race, one of the best ads in the race is, she's worried about where you pee, I'm worried about potholes. Yeah. Just speaking politically, it is going to be a great thing if they actually go through with prosecuting this. Jordan, I bet the DOJ lied to the grand jury. I would bet that they didn't. I would bet that they do what they always do, which is present a very one-sided case. Yeah, it's not a trial. It's just a presentation. Jeff Schuler, how appropriate. The guy that is trying to throw us all in shit creek goes swimming in one. Yeah. Amen, brother. Amen. Oh, my God. But yeah, folks, that's what I've got for you today. I appreciate you being here. As usual, I enjoyed spending time with you. I love the fact that y'all were so far ahead. I should have known to put that first. Everybody is so stoked up about that Omaha mayoral race because it's just one race after another. And I'm telling you, folks, I'm going to beg you one more time, and I am begging you. Please go get involved with your local Democratic Party. Folks, the Democratic Party in the county just south of us, I just got an invitation. They want me to go have barbecue with them. They're networking right now. That's what they're doing. They're networking right now. Why? So when it's time to get to work, everybody knows each other. Everybody's got the numbers. Everybody's, lined out. They know what everybody can and can't do. And it's just, boom, we're in it. Do it now. Do it now. Capitalize on this momentum. There's so many rural, and just local Democratic parties that need the energy, that need the young people there. They need you, man. They need you. And the momentum's on our side. Let's make it work. Let's do it. Do it and do it now. I love you, folks. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.